Right, so we're here with Adam from Venus Instruments.
Hey,
Adam.
how's it going? Yeah.
Yeah, good. What have you brought to Superbooth this year?
So this year I have brought my Rev 2 of the Veno-Echo. It's a digital stereo delay unit. It has two separate channels, left and right, with separate time and independent time and feedback controls. Some of you might have seen the previous 20 HP version, so this is an updated one. It retains all of the features and tone of the original, but with a significantly more functionality and tuned for better performance.
Excellent.
And also reduced in size. So I'll just get some sound going and we can hear what the delay can do. So if I bring in the wet dry mix here, the delay times are derived from the bass tempo, which you can tap in, or you can clock using an external source, and it will clock very accurately.
Nice.
The delay times are a ratio of that bass tempo, so at this position they're in unity, but it will go down to divide by 6 in integer ratios and up to times by 6, so you can have a wide range of delay times between the two channels to get a stereo image.
Excellent.
And so I'll set an offset there so you can hear it. Additionally, there's a handful of tools to colour and sculpt the delay to give it the character that you desire. We've got a high pass and a low pass filter, as a stereo high pass and stereo low pass filters, and those can be placed either in or after the feedback loop. The filters are taken out with this, put in with that, and then there's a secondary set of functions which allows you to adjust the cutoff frequencies. So, for example, we can get quite a bright, taking out all of the low ends, or we could get a more meaty, deep delay if you want to. These then feed a saturation drive algorithm, which is essentially a non-linear kind of level-dependent distortion, similar to a valve in response. So what I'll do is I'll turn down the level slightly and then bring in the distortion. And it couples very nicely with the filters, so you can really sculpt it to get some interesting tones out of it.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Thanks very much. And to go even further and a little bit more extreme, we've also got a sample rate reducer, which will take it from this 48 kilohertz, very high-res audio, down to much lower, with including an enormous amount of digital aliasing. And you can have all these effects simultaneously.
Great.
So you can really hear it crush the sample now quite considerably.
Yeah, and what's the order of effects there?
So the order can actually be adjusted. So using this filter, this control here, the secondary function on this filter knob. So it is basically, it can go filter into the two drive circuits. You can flip it, so it's drive into filter, and then the drive into filter can be in the feedback loop or after the feedback loop. So you've got some options there for some temporal kind of changes if you want.
Yeah,
and it does make quite a lot. That's it. Yeah, it makes a lot of difference to the sounds. Yeah.
Definitely.
So if I get rid of the some of the sample rate reduction there. Additionally, there are reverse buffers on each side. What I'll do is I'll just go full wet for a second, and then you can hear them coming in.
Oh yeah, nice.
The reverse buffers are recording in parallel, so it will immediately and smoothly transition into reverse, and can be independently triggered. And we've also got gate inputs to allow that to be sequenced externally.
Great. Yeah, there seems to be a nice array of sort of input and outputs here.
Yes, I tried to get as many parameters as I could into CV or gate, so to give you that ability to make it a bit more organic. We've got a stereo width control here, so at the moment we're in full pan. I'll just take this cross feedback out, and this will now impact the stereo position of the two heads. So if I give it a little bit of separation in delay time, emphasize the stereo width, then as we bring it in, at this position we collapse to mono on the delay line only. And if we go this way, we get a cross stereo image. So that means you can get the heads to kind of spin around you, which is can be a nice effect, particularly if you're listening in headphones.
Definitely, yeah, that sounds great.
The additional features also include a Karplus-Strong algorithm. So it's technically the same delay, which has been, the parameters have been tuned to make that more convenient to use as a string synthesis engine. So you've got two sides, both can be controlled with a volt per octave input. The time controls become fine-tuned, and the feedback becomes a lot more stable, so that it won't go into runaway feedback, and you get a nice plucked synth sound with some sustain.
Amazing. Can we hear a bit of the Karplus-Strong?
Unfortunately, it's not all patched up at the moment. But I think if you go to Div Kid's video on this module, he does a fantastic demo of two channels doing Karplus-Strong. So I'll give you a really good rundown of it.
Great. And when's it out? When's the Veno-Echo out?
The Veno-Echo is already in stores. It was released last November. So hopefully in most shops, you have to find out if your local store has it. But if not, get them to get in touch with me, because we want to try and get it into as many people's hands as we can. So,
great. And how much is it? How much is it RRP?
It's currently retailing at £379, including tax.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. And you have another module on its left, which is a preview for Superbooth.
Yeah, that's right. So the module on its left is a prototype, a very early prototype, but it's been I've brought it along because I want to get as much feedback on the design as possible, and I'm very excited about it. This is a 2-channel and 4-layer looper and sampler module. It has essentially 4 buffers stacked on each side, and the buffers can be recorded independently, or they can be linked to stereo. So I'll put maybe a different sample going, and we can put together a quick loop. Okay, so we're now linked in stereo. We can hit record, and just like a standard guitar pedal interface, you just tap it to begin recording, tap again, and we've now got a loop going. So I can take out the original source, and we're just listening to the looper now.
Great.
The loops can be repitched, and that can also be controlled volt per octave for sequencing. We've also got built-in attack and release envelopes per side, and they affect the play and play trigger sample. So you can use this as a voice without needing to patch up external VCAs, etc. They'll go from quite long and ambient to quite snappy, depending on how you want it.
Excellent. And I can see you've got controls here for start point, length.
That's right. Yeah. So you can adjust the length and the start point and CV those controls.
That's
so
great.
Currently they cause some audio artifacts, which will be ironed out for future final firmware. But you can hear the effect of the lengthening of the sample.
Yeah.
So here I've made it a very short sample, and you can reverse it, change where that comes in, and repitch it. So currently I've recorded it, into the both channels at once, making a stereo image, and what I can do is I can overdub an additional audio on top. I get something which doesn't clash too bad. Okay, so now with the overdub control in the location it is at the moment, we get just an additive overdub. It can be patched in as desired. Okay, so I recorded a few snippets of this clinking sound. So I'll take that out, it's now there. However, if you'd prefer, you can bring this knob down, and then what it will do is the new audio will replace the old audio gradually. So totally different sample, and we can just allow it to. The old samples will disappear in the background.
Right, yeah.
Digital aliasing is happening due to the due to the speed algorithm being not quite correct, but we'll
That's
clear
okay.
it back up.
It's a prototype.
It's very much a
understand
prototype,
this is a
yeah.
prototype, so no worries.
Running for only a few days now, so.
Yeah, I really like this. I mean, maybe it's not ready, but I really like this layer feature
Yes,
that you have.
so
here.
I haven't implemented it fully at the moment, so it won't crossfade, but I think it'll really increase the power of the module to be able to change between different maybe timbral differences or of course completely different samples. I mean, one thing you could do is you could potentially record in a different drum into each one, and then as you trigger each one, you can switch this with CV, and then you can sequence an entire kit.
That would be cool.
One feature which is not immediately obvious is that the play mode here has a one-shot latch or moment tree function. In one shot, you'll actually get 4-note polyphony on each side, and that can be utilized with a MIDI keyboard to allow you to play it as a chromatically across the keyboard there.
Excellent.
So hopefully very fast, very quick to put together a sound and a sample, and then manipulate and turn into a melody or a sequence that you want.
Nice. And you also, just finally, you mentioned possibility of wavetables.
Yes, that's right. So it actually has an SD card input, and my initial use case for that was to save the bank, so it will save all the audio, but it also allow you to recall it. If you put the audio happens to be a single cycle waveform, then they could be used as a wavetable oscillator, and with 4 layers, so which you can crossfade between. And so as long as the samples that you put in are the correct sample rate and bit sample frequency and bit rate, and are in phase, then that should work perfectly well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So look out for the Veno Looper very soon.
Yes.
Soonish.
This year, hopefully. Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks very much.